Hi, I'm Ann Esselstyn, and I'm about to make some corn muffins from a cookbook that I have fallen in love with. Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior by Ann and Jane Esselstyn, the mother and wife. Ann is the wife of Dr. Esselstyn, who wrote Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, that basically turned around the health field and made let people realize that through food, through whole food, plant-based, SOS free, salt, oil, sugar free, they could reverse heart disease. Now, in this book, they say if you don't have heart disease, we have recipes that do have salt. If you do, just don't use the salt. Anyway, love the cookbook. They've done a marvelous job, and I've changed my breakfast making savory oats because of a recipe here. I made a fabulous mommy's mushroom gravy that was just delicious. And right now, because I'm going to be doing a demonstration pretty soon of what I eat in a day, I'm adding these muffins to dinner, and I thought, well, why not just do a video of my making them? So I have put in this bowl oat flour, which I make myself. A cup of oatmeal ground up is about 3/4 of a cup of flour, which is in here. Corn flour, which was about a 1/2 cup of corn meal ground up in my Vitamix to make flour, and that gave me a little more than 1/2 cup of corn flour, but that was all measured. And then corn meal, and then some baking soda, baking powder, a little bit of salt, which you could leave off. I use a whisk to whip it up and to fluff it, and the rest is you're going to see, but I want to show you this photo. Look at this. Very clever photo. The photography in the book is marvelous, but I'm not doing this. Well, first of all, I'm not staking it, and I'm not adding the blueberries. The recipe notes there are so many variations that you can take, and they've allowed for all of that and given instruction. I'm going to be serving tonight a split pea soup and a savory eggplant bake. And the blueberries just won't work with that, but the corn muffins will work beautifully. So here goes. I'm gonna add to a bowl of what was 1 cup of water and then 2 heaping tablespoons of chia seed. You will see now it is a seedy slurry, and I'm adding to that. It would have been 1.5 cups of corn, but because I'm not doing the blueberries, they note, go ahead and just use 2 cups of corn. And one of the other motivators in not using blueberries, even though I have fresh blueberries here, I could have used frozen, is that I'm using what I had, and it's the roasted corn. And I just thought that the purity of this marvelous roasted corn muffin would do better without the addition of the blueberries. All right, then I'm adding, now they called for a couple of tablespoons, several tablespoons of maple syrup. And because I'm whole food plant-based, I try to go as whole food as I can, and I always have date paste here. So I'm doing a 1-to-1 ratio with them. They called for 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. I'm using 3 tablespoons of date paste. I'll let you know when I attach the recipe whether or not I think that was a mistake. And I'm not sure how I'd know, other than if it doesn't come out the way probably it should have, it was probably because I messed with it. Then 1/2 cup of unsweetened applesauce. And let me tell you what I do with this. I buy, because I don't eat applesauce, I eat whole foods, and I don't have a problem with applesauce, but I'd rather bite into an apple rather than just spoon up some already ground up apple. And I buy the big jars, and then I just freeze them in 1/2 cup containers pop them out and put them in freezer Ziploc bags, or I could leave the containers in the freezer. But then I always have a half a cup ready, because most of my recipes either use a cup or a half a cup of applesauce, and a lot of the sweets that I make, and I don't make a lot of sweets, but a lot of the sweets that I would make call for a half a cup or a cup. And then I'm adding a half a cup of plant milk, and in this case I'm using soy milk. I use soy milk a lot because it's loaded with protein. It has as much, if not more, protein than a cup of cow's milk. Now, I've been whole food plant-based for nearly 4 years now. I haven't had dairy in 4 years of any kind, and that includes the butter that would be made from dairy. And I love all the plant milks, but the one that's highest in protein, and if I'm gonna have a bread, why not let it add protein to the meal? Almond milk, for example, is 2 grams of protein. Soy milk is 9 grams of protein per cup. And soy has lysine, which is the amino acid that makes a lot of plants, one of the amino acids, that makes a lot of plants not a complete protein, which doesn't matter. They all bind in your body anyway to make a complete protein. But this on its own is a complete protein, so it's quite a superfood. Now, I'm gonna add the wet to the dry, as is always the recommendation. And then I'm gonna spoon them in, bake them for 20 to 25 minutes in a 375-degree oven. And the oven I'm using is my Breville hot air fryer oven that I'm really crazy about, because in my demonstration for what I eat in a day, I showed how we air fry pre-cooked potatoes, and they're crispy like a French fry. They're marvelous. Kind of smash them down, and then they get crispy with the air fryer. Well, I'm using that same oven. It's just that little thing over here rather than this giant thing. Why heat all of that for one of these? No need. Okay, and by the way, this is the date paste. Yesterday I did 2 pounds of dates. That was full yesterday, but I've been doing some cooking. 2 pounds, make sure that there are no seeds, put in boiling water, let them soak up the water, pour out what they don't take, and at least on my recipe, I add back a half a cup of that sweet water, save it for other things, and that's the date paste. Whir it up in a food processor. I like that better than a blender because it's at least for the 2 pounds. And I use medjool dates. They're soft, they're very sweet, and they're just yummy. Okay, so here is my batter. What did we put in here? We used oat flour, corn flour, real corn, date paste, some leavening, applesauce. Oh. Do you like dough? I like dough. Oh my, that's really good. I asked my husband which of the 2 soups that I took out of the freezer he wanted, either pozole or a split pea tonight. He said, oh, split pea sounds good. And then I said, would you like corn muffins with that? And that kind of nailed it. Okay, now I'm putting about a half a cup per muffin pan. At least that's what she called for, but you know what? I've got the feeling that if I had, because this is not half a cup, so I'm gonna have leftovers, which when I'm finished, I will put into some other muffin pans and bake probably after this one. I'm not gonna keep you waiting. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna keep you waiting. I will attach to the video a photo of the finished muffins, and consider this cookbook. I have no attachment to them at all. They have no idea who I am. but I really like it. It's just marvelous. And I am Nan Simonson. I wrote Aging Powerfully. The word powerfully is an acronym for 10 lifestyle modalities that you can incorporate into your life to age with power. I'll be 72 in a few months after I run my half marathon, and I'm aging so well because of the whole food plant-based diet that I teach people in that book and with the patients I work with at Lifestyle Medical here in Riverside, California. Have a great day, because I know I'm going to. Bye-bye.